Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting under the skin of a problem that's incredibly common. So common. Most of us just write it off as, dry skin. Talking about peeling skin on the soles of your feet. Persistent, sometimes pretty bad peeling.
Yeah, it's one of those things everyone seems to experience at some point. But calling it just dry skin is, well, often wrong. That peeling, medically termed plantar desquamation, it's not really a condition itself. It's more like a symptom, a sign.
A sign that something's up with a unique environment down there.
Exactly. It's like a little diagnostic map if you know how to read it.
So our mission today is to go beyond just grabbing the moisturizer. We want to uncover the real reasons, the physiological ones, the environmental factors, even the underlying diseases that can cause this. We've looked at sources covering everything from simple friction, bad shoes, to quite serious chronic conditions. Things like psoriasis, infections, even some rare childhood issues show up here.
And we can group these causes into roughly 4 main areas, which should help make sense of it all for you. First, there's the environmental and mechanical stuff. Think moisture, friction. Then we've got fungal and bacterial infections, big culprits. Third, inflammatory and autoimmune conditions. That's where things like eczema and psoriasis fit in. And finally, some other medical causes that don't neatly fit elsewhere. It's quite a range.
It really is. Okay, so before we dive into those causes, let's lay the groundwork. We need to understand the skin itself. Why is the skin on the bottom of our feet so different?
It's fundamentally different. It has to be, right? Think about what it does. It's designed for weight bearing, for impact. So that outermost layer, the stratum corneum, it's incredibly thick on the soles, much thicker than elsewhere.
Like natural padding.
Precisely. There's even a specific layer called the stratum lucidum that contributes to this toughness. It's like built-in armor plating.
Okay, thick armor. But armor can get brittle, can't it? Especially if it's dry.
And that's the catch. This super thick skin has basically 0 sebaceous glands, no oil glands.
No natural moisturizer built in.
None at all. So structurally, it's prone to drying out, to cracking, just because of its basic design.
Right, so it's inherently dry. But wait, people always talk about sweaty feet. How can it be both dry and damp? That seems contradictory.
But it is, because while it lacks oil glands, it's absolutely packed with sweat glands, acrine sweat glands.
How many are we talking?
Estimates are around 250,000 for the pair. A huge density.
Wow, okay.
So stick those feet inside shoes, especially ones that don't breathe well, and you create this constantly moist environment.
Trapped moisture.
Exactly, which leads to something called maceration. And that healing, the desquamation we see, it's often because this whole system, this balance between dry structure and sweaty reality gets thrown off. The shedding process gets disrupted or accelerated.
Got it. So the armor fails either because it gets too dry and cracks or too wet and softens.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, let's unpack those common sort of non-medical culprits first, the environmental and mechanical things. You mentioned maceration.
Right. Maceration is essentially what happens when the skin gets waterlogged. Too much exposure to moisture, usually trapped sweat, softens that thick outer layer too much. The skin cells swell up, they lose their grip on each other, and you start to get that peeling. Often looks kind of white, wrinkled, superficial.
Like after a long hike in damp socks, maybe?
Exactly that scenario. Or just a long day in non-breathable work boots.
And the flip side is friction. Direct physical stress.
Yeah, simple mechanical trauma, shoes that rub, maybe too tight or too loose, or activities like long-distance running. The skin gets damaged, and the body's response is often to try and thicken up, produce more keratin quickly as a defense.
Okay, so it builds a callus, basically.
Yeah.
But why does that peel? If it's protective, shouldn't it stay?
It's often a temporary rushed job. When the friction stops, say you switch shoes or stop running for a bit, that rapidly produced, maybe slightly abnormal keratin layer isn't needed in the same way. So the body kind of sheds it as it tries to get back to normal thickness. It peels off.
Right, the emergency shield gets discarded?
Something like that.
Okay, that covers direct moisture and friction. But then there's contact dermatitis. This one seems like it could easily be mistaken for just dryness or friction burns.
Oh, absolutely. And it's surprisingly common on the feet. It can be 2 types, really. There's irritant contact dermatitis, that's cumulative damage. Think harsh soaps, detergents, maybe even just prolonged water exposure itself wearing down the barrier over time.
Makes sense.
But then there's allergic contact dermatitis. That's different. That's your immune system reacting. It's a delayed hypersensitivity.
So what, though? What are people typically allergic to on their feet?
Well, the sources point to some really common culprits hidden in our footwear. Things like Adhesives used to hold shoes together.
Glues.
Yeah. Also, compounds in rubber, think sneakers, boot soles. And a big one is a chemical used in tanning leather, potassium dichromate.
Wait, so even in expensive leather shoes?
You could still react if you're sensitive to that specific tanning chemical. It's not about the quality of the leather itself.
That's fascinating. And the peeling is the allergy resolving.
Kind of. Usually, the allergic reaction first causes redness, itching, maybe tiny blisters. The peeling you notice often comes later, as the skin is healing and shedding that damaged layer.
And I guess sweaty feet make this worse.
Definitely. Non-breathable shoes trap heat and moisture, which can concentrate these potential irritants or allergens right against the skin. It makes reactions more likely and potentially more severe. It's a vicious cycle sometimes.
Okay, so that covers the environmental and mechanical side. Now let's shift gears. What happens when the peeling isn't just about shoes or sweat, but there's an actual underlying pathology, like an infection or an autoimmune issue?
Right. This is where diagnosis gets even trickier because the symptoms can start to overlap quite a bit. Let's start with infections.
Athlete's foot has to be number one, right? Yeah, tinea pedis.
It's certainly very common. But athlete's foot isn't just the itchy stuff between the toes, which is what most people think of. There's a form called the moccasin-type distribution. This is where you get diffuse, fine scaling, sometimes thickening and peeling that covers the whole sole, maybe creeping up the sides, like the pattern of a moccasin.
And it might not even be that itchy.
Sometimes it's only mildly itchy, or not at all, which is why people might not realize it's a fungus. The mechanism is that the fungus, usually Trichophyton rubrum, is actually living in the keratin layer and feeding on it. It invades the skin.
Okay, what else in the infection category?
Another interesting one, though maybe less common, is pitted keratolysis.
Pitted, like little holes.
Exactly. Small pits or craters, mainly on the pressure-bearing areas of the sole. And it's often associated with excessive sweating, hyperhidrosis, and a pretty distinct foul odor.
Oh, okay. What causes that one? Fungus again.
No, this one is bacterial, usually bacteria like Chytococcus sedentarius. And the mechanism is quite cool in a slightly gross way. These bacteria produce enzymes, proteases, that literally digest the keratin protein in your skin. That digestion creates the pits.
And the smell.
The smell comes from the breakdown products of that digestion, often sulfur compounds. So the odor is a direct result of the bacteria eating your skin protein.
That's memorable. A very direct cause and effect.
Indeed. Very linked to sweaty feet providing the right environment for those bacteria.
All right, moving from microbes to our own immune system turning against us. Inflammatory conditions. What about eczema on the feet?
Dishydrotic eczema, sometimes called pompholix, is a key one here. It has a very characteristic pattern. It usually starts with intensely itchy, deep-seated little blisters, vesicles, often on the sides of the feet and soles.
So blisters first.
Blisters first. Then, as those blisters resolve, that's when the peeling phase happens. And it can be quite dramatic skin coming off in larger sheets, leaving tender pink skin underneath.
So the timing is key for diagnosis. Blisters peeling points towards this type of eczema.
It's a very strong clue, yes. Different from, say, psoriasis.
Right, psoriasis. How does that look different on the soles?
Psoriasis is fundamentally an autoimmune condition causing massively accelerated skin cell turnover. Normally, your skin cells take about a month to mature and shed. With psoriasis, that cycle is compressed down to maybe 3 or 4 days.
Wow, incredibly fast.
Yeah, so you get this rapid buildup of cells that haven't matured properly. This creates the typical lesions, thick, well-defined red patches or plaques. And crucially, these plaques are covered with silvery white scales. That silvery scale is quite characteristic.
And on the feet, this can cause cracking too.
Oh, yes. Because the skin is so thick and inflamed, it loses flexibility. Deep, painful cracks or fissures are really common with plantar psoriasis.
Okay, so eczema, blisters, then peeling. Psoriasis equals thick red plaques with silvery scales, often cracking. That's a helpful distinction.
Broadly speaking, yes, though reality can sometimes be messy.
And there was one other condition mentioned in the sources under inflammatory, something rarer, Kawasaki disease.
Ah, yes. Kawasaki disease is important to know about, especially if you have young children. It's a systemic inflammatory illness, affects blood vessels, and one of the classic signs, although it appears later in the illness, during the recovery phase.
Peeling.
Yes. Peeling of the skin on the fingertips and toes, which can extend onto the palms and soles. It usually happens around week 2 or 3 in the convalescent phase. It's a key diagnostic clue for doctors.
So the peeling isn't the main problem, it's a signal of this other underlying disease having occurred.
Precisely. A late-stage marker.
Okay, it's becoming really clear why just looking at peeling feet isn't enough. The causes are so varied.
Exactly. And we haven't even covered everything. There are other factors too.
Like things specific to kids?
There's something called juvenile plantar dermatosis, or JPD, sometimes nicknamed sweaty sock syndrome.
Catchy name. What's the mechanism there?
It's thought to be related to those repeated cycles of getting very wet, like sweaty feet in occlusive shoes, and then drying out rapidly. This damages the skin barrier. It typically looks like shiny, red, sometimes glazed-looking skin with peeling, often symmetrically on the balls of the feet and heels. Mostly in kids, as the name suggests.
Okay. And any really rare things we should just mention?
Well, just to show the breadth, there are genetic keratodermas. These are inherited conditions where there's a defect in how keratin is formed, leading to very thick skin, hyperkeratosis, and associated peeling. And believe it or not, nutritional deficiencies can sometimes play a role. Severe lack of niacin causing pellagra or zinc deficiency can manifest with skin changes, including a kind of scaly, peeling dermatitis that might affect the soles.
Wow. So it could even be diet-related in extreme cases.
In very specific severe deficiency states, yes. It underscores how skin health is linked to overall health.
Which brings us back to diagnosis. Given all this,
Yeah.
self-diagnosing seems like a really bad idea.
It's incredibly difficult. The symptoms overlap so much. Is it fungus? Is it eczema? Is it just really bad contact dermatitis from new shoes? You often can't tell just by looking.
So what's the professional approach? What should someone expect if they go to a doctor?
Well, first, a good history is crucial. The doctor will ask about how long it's been going on, your job, are you on your feet all day, what kind of shoes do you wear, any history of allergies, psoriasis, eczema.
Digging for clues.
Exactly. Then, depending on what they suspect, they might do some simple tests. If fungus is suspected, they might scrape a little skin off for a KOH prep that's looking for fungal elements under a microscope, or send it for a fungal culture.
Okay.
If they suspect an allergy, maybe patch testing is needed to identify specific allergens, like those chemicals in shoes we talked about.
Right.
And if things are really unclear or not responding to treatment, sometimes a skin biopsy is needed. A tiny sample of skin is taken and examined pathologically. That can definitively tell psoriasis from eczema, for instance.
So investigation is key.
Absolutely, because the treatment has to match the cause.
Which brings us to management. Okay, treatment depends on the diagnosis antifungal for fungus, maybe steroids for eczema or psoriasis. But are there general things people can do, things that address that core problem of the foot's unique environment?
Yes, definitely. Regardless of the specific cause, some basic foot care principles are vital. First, hygiene sounds obvious, but it matters. Wash feet daily, and crucially, dry them really thoroughly, especially between the toes. That's prime real estate for fungus.
I'll dry carefully.
Very carefully. Second, moisturizing. Remember how the soles lack oil? You need to compensate. Use thick creams or ointments, emollients. Look for ingredients like urea, lactic acid, or ceramides. These help hydrate and repair that skin barrier.
Wait, you said moisture can be bad, like for fungus or that pitted keratolysis?
Excellent point. Strategic moisturizing is key. If you're prone to fungal infections or maceration, you should apply the moisturizer to the soles and heels, but avoid putting thick creams between the toes.
Ah, okay. Don't create a damp environment where you don't want one.
Exactly. And third, footwear is huge. Choose breathable materials when possible, leather, canvas, mesh fabrics.
Let the sweat escape.
Right, and wear socks that wick moisture away from the skin synthetics designed for sport, or wool, are often better than plain cotton, which just holds moisture. And maybe the single most important footwear habit, rotate your shoes.
Don't wear the same pair every day.
Please don't. Give your shoes at least 24 hours, ideally longer, to dry out completely inside before you wear them again. Otherwise, you're just stepping back into that damp, potentially microbe-friendly environment day after day.
That makes so much sense. Let them air out.
Completely. It's critical.
So, wrapping this up, our deep dive really shows that peeling feet. It's rarely just peeling feet.
No, it's a signal. A complex one. It tells us something has disrupted the really delicate balance required by that unique, hard-working skin on our soles.
A balance between being tough armor, managing moisture, and fighting off invaders.
Precisely. And getting to the root cause, getting that precise diagnosis we talked about, that's everything. That's the only way to manage it effectively long-term. You treat the cause, not just the symptom of peeling.
It makes you appreciate that patch of skin, doesn't it? We stand on it all day, pound it on the pavement.
We really take its durability for granted, considering the constant pressure, the friction, the moisture challenges, the microbial environment. The fact that it usually does manage is pretty pretty remarkable.
It really is a feat of human adaptation, that soul skin. Which leaves us with a thought to maybe ponder. What other parts of our anatomy, these unseen specialized features, are constantly fighting these invisible battles, environmental, mechanical, biological, just to keep us functioning, upright, and protected every single day? Something to think about until our next deep dive.